and welcome to the Cisco Smart Business webinar. For this event, Cisco is delighted to have teamed up with the London 2012 partners, Adecco and Deloitte, to examine how London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games have transformed UK business operations. We will be covering flexible working network infrastructure and security issues with the aim of advising you how you could use our London 2012 experiences to benefit your business. With us today, I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Steve Gerder, the Director of London 2012 Adecco, Tom Neen, Business Development Lead for London 2012 at Cisco, and David Gill, Managing Partner, Internal Client Services at Deloitte. Welcome. Adecco UK were responsible for the official London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic recruitment services and provider, and are the largest recruitment company in the world. Steve Girdler had the overall responsibility for Adecco's involvement with London 2012, including the recruitment, then outplacement of 2,000 permanent and 6,300 temporary staff. The people who organised the games and made the most, and what most commentators called the greatest games ever. Cisco are the official network infrastructure supporter of the London 2012 Games and help make them the most connected ever. Cisco's networking infrastructure underpinned the delivery of the voice, video and data traffic for London 2012. Cisco also provided the essential networking equipment that supported the Games time and administration applications on the local network. Deloitte were the official professional services provider to the London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games and have provided over 400,000 hours of expertise to the organising committee to date. From organisation design and temporary venues to customer experience, consulting and tax advice, Deloitte played an integral role in the delivery of the Games. David Gill heads up the Deloitte Games Readiness Steering Group, which was created to assess the potential impacts on Deloitte's business and consider any actions required to ensure the delivery of the best possible client service during the Games. The group consists of representatives from a number of areas, including human resources, IT and procurement. Now, we hope you'll find the next 30 minutes useful. If you have any questions at any point, please post them on the comments box at the bottom of your screen on the Cisco London 2012 site. We will try to include as many of these as possible at the end of this session. The legacy of the Games is undoubtedly the generation inspired by the likes of our Team GB medal-winning Olympic and Paralympic athletes. But it's also a generation of more efficient businesses. Now, 60% of the businesses believe they can be more productive anytime, anywhere. They too have embraced the faster, higher, stronger Olympic ethos. And it's not too late for others to draw inspiration from this and transform their business. We will kick off with the subject of flexible working. Our experts will be covering how flexible working has changed since the Games and what benefits you could see from employing flexible working in your own business. The key question to ask your organisation: does anyone need to be in the office at the same time? This is the point that was brought up by the Olympic travel issue. The prospect of people trying to get into work at the same time on an already overcrowded transport network presented a few challenges for employees, including increased stress, longer travel times and higher travel costs. In this scenario, businesses were looking at increased absenteeism and employees arriving late for work. In addition, Cisco research shows that 8% of employees took time off to attend live events and 21% of employees watched events on company laptops. Combined with travel issues, this threatened the productivity of businesses during the Games. However, many of them found a way around this by implementing flexible working policy. Now, to get an insight from our industry experts who will be discussing the benefits of flexible working and the possibilities of implementing it in your own business. So, Steve, maybe I can start with you. How has London 2012 changed the UK business flexible working attitude?
Well, I think, as you said, everyone was very worried to begin with around the impact of the games on working, on travel, people getting to and from work. But I think those businesses that genuinely embraced it and started to implement flexible working practices, increasing their temps, allowing people to work from home, allowing people to stagger their journey times, really came up with found a huge benefit to themselves, and found actually that productivity didn't drop, but probably increased. So this boost to flexible working as a result of the games, I think, has uncovered a huge benefit to a lot of businesses. And it's been a powerful, seen also as a powerful tool in their own arsenal in terms of engaging their staff. It's, it's redefined priorities in the world in terms of work-life balance. And businesses that embraced this found that their staff were much more productive and engaged with them as businesses.
And how important is it for organisations to embrace flexible working?
It's hugely important on a number of different areas. I mean, most businesses recognise that change is the key issue they have to deal with in their businesses, whatever that business may be. And having access to people, as people are what make businesses tick, having access to the best people for their business is what is key. And there is, strangely, a talent shortage out there. And by having different working practices, flexible working practices, you spread the net wider and you can make your business more attractive, but also you can reduce your costs in travel time, in terms of real estate. There are many, many benefits to be had from having a flexible workforce.
Okay, so you've covered a number of the benefits there already, but in terms of what businesses are looking to capitalise on those benefits, I mean, what type of flexible working is available for organisations?
There's lots of ways of doing this. The traditional temporary workforce, where you hire people in to do particular projects, that's one way of looking at it. Another would be having people able to work from home. And interestingly, just because they're working at home doesn't mean they work shorter hours. And what we've found is they tend to work longer hours, but they do it over a period of time. You can do a job share with people. There's lots of different ways you can actually build this flexible workforce. So.
Okay, thank you. Tom, if we could turn to you, please. I mean, from the research that I mentioned earlier on, I mean, how well do you think businesses responded to the pressures caused by London 2012?
Well, the figures that we got back show it's pretty good. It's almost half. It's around 43% of businesses had adopted some sort of flexible working strategy. Most of it involved putting in place some secure remote access technology. Many had put in place online collaboration technology, which would then enable their staff to actually collaborate with their customers and with each other and with their partners using collaboration solutions. Interestingly, 25% actually put in place flexible working to enable their staff to have flexibility so that they could actually go and enjoy the event itself as well. So I think generally in advance a lot of companies had thought about it very hard.
Excellent, thank you. And David, if I could turn to you, I mean, how did Deloitte approach flexible working?
Well, I think it's fair to say we had flexible working practices in our business before, but they were done on a very ad hoc, informal basis with individual business units taking the opportunity to embrace it without necessarily having all of the tools open to them. What the games gave us was the opportunity to formalise those working practices properly, make sure we had proper HR policies in place and the IT infrastructure to support it consistently.
And for an organisation looking to embrace flexible working for the first time, what would you suggest are the first steps?
Well, I think firstly, you've got to make sure that the business leaders understand the potential benefits and implications of it. But I think you also have to understand the implications for your own customers and clients. Anything that impacts customer service is clearly a bad idea. And it's not appropriate in all areas either. When we did our research, we found that there were a number of areas where flexible working didn't work. So reception areas, secretarial support, etc. It just wasn't appropriate. But I think, by developing that full understanding of HR, IT issues and understanding the commercial benefits, having a robust plan and then communicating it effectively, we were able to mitigate.
Okay, and just following on from that point, I mean, do you think flexible working is appropriate for all businesses?
It's certainly appropriate for more businesses that deploy it at the moment. There are some industries where it may be not appropriate, in retail, for example, but undoubtedly the younger generation is becoming far more familiar with the virtual world, and therefore the opportunities to gain the commercial benefits are certainly out there.
Okay, thank you. So during the Olympics, businesses learned that employees don't need to be in an office to do their jobs. In fact, many businesses recognised that they'd outgrown the traditional office environment. They saw that travelling to and from the office wastes time, costs money and damages the environment, while also taking a toll on the employees themselves. What's more, tying your business to an office can restrict growth and limit the pool of talent you can attract. So with an extra 60 million passengers on the tube during London 2012, that's more than 30% more than normal. What better time to test a remote working policy? So what I'd like to do now is Tom, maybe we can come back to you. I mean, again, we talked about the Cisco research. I mean, how many companies employed remote working during the Games, and how did businesses transform their practices?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think there were sort of various approaches. Around about 20% of the businesses that we talked to actually redeployed staff and introduced completely new travel policies during Games time, whereas in the order of 75% of businesses actually adopted remote working and therefore put in place the technologies that would be required to address that. Of the 75%, probably a third of those were actually doing it for the very first time. So the Games really did change the way those businesses thought about things. That's probably 25% of all businesses that we talked to were doing it for the first time. The actual transformation involved actually looking at the IT strategy as a whole and seeing what the impact of introducing remote working would be. Clearly, from a network infrastructure perspective, that has some impact on that aspect of things. It meant the introduction of virtual private network technology to enable that remote access, and then the introduction of a range of collaboration tools for the staff to be able to communicate with their partners and their customers and other staff. In terms of other research that we got, it was perhaps the further adoption by more senior members of staff of tablet technology, many of them using it during Games time for several hours to enable conferences and access to remote applications. And also the use of conferencing and web-based conferencing, probably more perhaps than they would do normally in perhaps addressing meetings in a face-to-face variety.
Excellent, thank you. And Steve, I mean, why do you think remote working has had such a positive impact on organisations and employees?
I think it's a case of, contrary to what a lot of businesses might think, is that once you've implemented this and people are happy and are working remotely, there's a sense of their employer are trusting them. And that means that they're motivated to do a better job because they've been given this trust. They often work longer hours, as I said before. They're often more than happy to do that because they feel they've been given that trust and they want to demonstrate that that trust has been well founded. And I think for them, the payback is the fact that it's a great way of balancing, work-life priorities. As I said, if you have a young family, then one of you can actually drop the kids off at school or pick up during the afternoon. There's no sense of worrying about whether you should be at work because actually you can then work in the evening. And those that we've talked to often do that. They may work very early in the morning for a couple of hours, then they may work a couple of hours in the morning. It's not a 9 to 5, and that's been much more productive and much more beneficial for the workforce as well.
And for those organisations that used London 2012 as a catalyst to start with remote working and are now considering whether to continue or not, I mean, what would your advice be?
I think if you started to do that, then I would probably formalise it more, because I think the benefits you can get out of having that flexible and remote workforce have probably only just been realised. and they can be much, if you formalise it within your processes, within your existing working practices, then I think you start to see a greater increase in productivity, engagement with staff, reduced absenteeism, and reduced sickness. I think there are many benefits that are yet to be fully realised from embracing this.
Thank you.